Listen, if you still want to come to America because you believe in the American dream, let me tell you something. That dream died like 30 plus years ago, and now we're living in a dream that involves paying $10 for a dozen of shitty fucking eggs, paying $2,000 a month for an apartment in the ghetto that's about 700 square feet and it has no walls. And then if you want to go to university here, you're looking at around $100,000 for a 4-year education. That's on the low end. But in those 4 years, you might get shot because everyone seems to want to shoot each other for some ungodly reason. Then you're going to graduate thinking, oh, I graduated, I have a degree now, I'm going to get a good job. Your good job is going to pay you about $40,000 starting off, maybe. And then they're going to say you're going to work 40 hours a week. When in reality, you're going to be working about 50 plus hours a week because they're going to guilt trip you in by saying, we're a family, we're a team, we help each other. And they're not going to pay you overtime for that because why would they? If they get your help for free, why would they pay you for that? Okay. Then there's no work-life balance. That company you're working for now doesn't want to give you vacation days until like maybe your second year working there. And those vacation days are maybe 4 days out of the whole entire year. That includes holidays. All right. Then if you're sick, too bad, you still have to come to work. Okay. Then if you want to buy groceries, your groceries are going to be your whole entire paycheck because no one can afford to eat here anymore. Got it? I go to the grocery store for 4 things. It's like $50. I'm just saying it sucks living here. I don't want to live here. I want to leave. So maybe you should rethink your whole American dream because it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Okay? Okay, love you, bye.
Let's talk about who the American dream was never meant for. From the start, the American dream was a myth. In the 1930s, the US government literally drew lines around primarily black neighborhoods in order to deny them loans, a process today known as redlining. Not only was this harmful because it kept black Americans out of homes, but it also denied them access to generational wealth. Meanwhile, throughout the 20th century, black workers and immigrants were exploited in factories, in mines, and in fields, while the rich got even richer. Not to mention union busting and wage theft kept families in poverty for decades, and we can even see those effects today. It's not that the American dream is broken, it's that it is a myth for the majority of people. It was meant for white middle-class people who had the resources to try to elevate themselves to the top 1%. So by supporting billionaires like Elon Musk or like Mark Zuckerberg, you are supporting a system that actively hurts minorities as well as everyday people just like you. It's time for us to rebuild a system that is truly fair and equitable for everybody. Peace and love.
A lot of people are currently complaining about the cost of living in America and how they cannot afford life anymore. And there are countless of them on the internet really crying about all of this. Some of them blame it on the whole white supremacy. Then you have people who are actually blaming it on the current administration policies. Then see, everywhere is currently experiencing recession this period. Okay, I won't lie for you because seriously, recession is worldwide. But some people feel that it is worse right now than it was during the previous administrations and all that, that the cost of living for them right now is on the high side. To even get a job becomes a problem, that people who are losing their jobs, that people who cannot afford 3 square meals, some people actually live on one, okay, because they can no longer afford living. Some of them work good jobs and yet cannot survive. Imagine working and earning over 100K a year, and yet you cannot still live a good life. You cannot afford the basic things because you're so scared of going bankrupt. Okay, some people cannot live in good houses because of the cost of living. If you have to spend everything that you have on housing, pay taxes, pay a lot of things, buy this and buy that, plus the tariff that is actually hitting the roof right now, people are like, we can no longer do this anymore. Life is becoming so tough living in the US. And no wonder you have a lot of people who are already leaving the country because they can no longer afford the cost of things in the US. I feel so bad for them because imagine working, doing everything that you have to do, and yet it looks like you're doing nothing. There are some people who devote their entire life working, yet it looks like life is not even near, is not showing them any good. Well, I'm just going to jump right into the video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not already, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and credit to all creators on this video. Let's go watch.
The U.S. government has announced that the unemployment applications raised 8,000 last week, which brought the number to 247,000 people who applied for unemployment, which is the most that has ever been since October of last year. You guys know I'm taking this one personally because I ain't applied for that shit. So that motherfucker's about to be 247,001.
The American dream is debt. Let's talk about it. All of the aspects of the typical American dream is literally debt. Going to that incredible university, the private out-of-state university or the Ivy League university, you have 6 figures of debt. Driving that nice car, you have a 4-figure car note. having a mortgage, you're locked into a 30-year loan. If you want affordable health insurance or a 401k, you need to work in that 9 to 5. If you don't want to be screwed by the tax people, you need to get married and have kids. The American dream is to be in debt and to have so many dependents that you have no choice but to work and work and work until you literally can't work anymore and have no choice but to retire. That is the American dream. And we're also taught socially to subconsciously look down on people who choose alternative paths, people who are more free than the average person, people who choose not to have children, who choose not to get married, who choose not to work in corporate, people who choose to go to community college or trade school instead of getting, like up to 6 figures of debt at a university, people who choose to drive beaters or to buy used cars instead of brand new cars off the lot. Those people are looked down upon because that is not in line with the American dream, which is to get as much debt as you can so that you don't have a choice but to work. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like, the American dream is literally just you getting into debt. So
the American dream and being, and you being debt free is so hard. Okay. A lot of people have lived all their life in debt. Okay. That's why you have a credit card. You travel, you spend money on that credit. And before you know it, you are actually owing a lot of debt. Okay. People buy cars, they're paying with their credit. They're paying with, you buy a house, you're paying with credit. It's just built around debt for people to keep owing all the rest of their life. Some people live their whole life, owing debt. Right? And you have people who are unemployed now. They're trying to also apply for unemployment benefits and all of that. And it's just so hard for them. And to think that the number is actually increasing right now, unlike the previous administration, people are already complaining that as of last year, it was lower than what it is right now. I think it's everywhere, but now Americans are really complaining that the whole thing is becoming so much and people can no longer afford to live paycheck to paycheck or live with debt all the rest of their life. Like, you can't even break free. If you listen to some of the videos of people who owe student loan, you'll be so shocked on how much an average person needs to go to school. And that's why you have parents who are already crashing out on the internet and talking about how their children can no longer afford, education, proper education, and live life the same way they live their life, because before now they were able to do stuff, teach their children to live life the way they did, get good education, go to school, then of course get married and live your life, right? Have kids and all that. But right now, people are even advised not to have kids or even not get married at all. Well, let's check out this video.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has fucking changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled. But there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled and it was tough. But you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I can afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making 6-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the fuck is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy and then everybody else is just poor. Like, that's what is happening. And then I told him, hey, when you turn 25, at least your car insurance will go down. Hell no, he turned 25 and his car insurance went up $150. I tell him, if you need health insurance, get a good job. He has health insurance. He has had a medical emergency this week. Had to go to emergency room twice. He had to go to the emergency room because he couldn't get anybody to see him with the health insurance that he had. Right? So he had to go to an emergency room. Now he's out money for that too. It seems like you can never get ahead. And then my daughter, I told her all you have to do because she wanted to buy her own house. My daughter worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to save up enough for this down payment. Finally got this house. She's paying double what I'm paying for my mortgage, but her loan was the same amount. And then her mortgage company, after she's already moved in, said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that you need this type of coverage, which we forgot in the beginning. That's an extra $200 you'd be paying a month. And all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age on lavish vacations with all this money and nothing to do, all these social media influencers, because we value those types of things over hard workers. We will pay them $10,000, but you'll work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
I think a lot of people would say that my life story is the embodiment of the American dream. I was born to a single mom. We were poor for most of my childhood, faced a lot of hardship, a lot of adversity. We were homeless at times. Eventually, towards the end of high school, her substance abuse, her mental health took a decline. I started living on my own at 17. We were estranged, yada, yada, yada. I worked really hard my whole life, did well in school, got almost a full ride to BC, graduated right out of school. I had a 6-figure job. I would say I'm pretty successful now. So you might think I would sit here and say, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Work hard. The American dream is real. Hell no, it's not. It's not real. And part of it's real, but it is built on so much privilege and luck, and no one ever talks about that part. And I have so many stories I can share about how I made it by the skin of my teeth. And to this day, I'm still fighting so hard because it's hard to support yourself fully on your own and have no family as a backup. And all those stories are in the book that I'm writing and hopefully we'll have out one day. But today I thought I would focus on the stars that aligned and the luck I had that allowed me to be successful, because people always say, like, why can't this person just work harder, blah, blah, blah. There's so many things that get in the way, and there's so many things and areas where I lucked out that allowed me to, like, achieve the American dream, and I wanted to address those and why other people aren't in the same position I'm in or other successful people are. Because yes, there are a lot of people that are born into poor families and make it out and are rich and are wealthy, but there's way more people that are born into the same fate, work as hard or even harder, and don't get the same results. So my number one privilege, education. So first of all, I was born and raised Massachusetts. Best education in the country. I couldn't afford to go to a private school, obviously, so I went to public schools. I also happened to luck out and then I went to Grafton Public Schools and Tantasco Public Schools, which are both really good school systems. They had AP classes, they had honors classes, National Honor Society, college prep. If I had gone to a school where the education wasn't as good, there weren't as many class offerings, they didn't help me apply to college, who knows where I'd be. And not only the school systems, like my mom, she fell off a little bit towards the end of my childhood, but she was a great mom when I was younger, and she read to me every night, and she taught me how to do math, and she told me, like, you will go to college no matter what. She was the first in her family to go to college. She didn't even graduate. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and that's because of my mom. And some people don't have parents that tell them that or sit down with them and teach them how to do things. And side note, reading is supposed to be taught by parents, not by teachers. So anyways, I lucked out in the education department. Number two, I'm an only child, and you might be thinking, like, why does that matter? But I didn't have any younger siblings to support or parents to support. So to back that up a little bit, I'm an only child. I always think about how when I was 5 years old, my mom had just married my stepdad and asked me, do you want a younger sibling? I don't know if she listened to me specifically, but I said no. And I'm like, thank God, because imagine if when I was supporting myself on my own, putting myself through college, working all these shifts at a restaurant, whatever, if I also had a sibling who was 6 years younger than me, who my mom couldn't take care of, I would have felt the burden to take care of them. I know so many people who are the oldest child or have younger siblings and don't go to college so they can stay in their hometown and work and support their younger siblings. I was so lucky not to have that. And also with my mom, like, I supported us for a while, and then when I was 17, I was like, I'm out. I'm living on my own. I'm done supporting you. I gave her some money here and there, and this, like, I'm not proud of this. This eats me up. Sometimes I think I should have supported her more. It's a very complicated situation, but, like, I wasn't supporting my mom at the end of the day. Some people have to support their parents or help their parents pay the bills. So I was very privileged in that I was only supporting myself. Lastly, I'm white, and maybe you're thinking, like, oh, the race card, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not even gonna dive into the whole, like, systemic racism and how I benefited from that. I'm just gonna talk about how I was doing some shady stuff. Mainly it was because I was poor and I was fighting for my life. But for example, I got pulled over for driving without insurance. I got pulled over for driving with a suspended license. I got pulled over after buying weed in a Cumbies parking lot. And I didn't really get in trouble for any of it. And I think a large part of that is, like, look at me, like, innocent, white, redhead girl. I got away with murder. And who's to say, like, maybe if I was black, if I was a person of color, maybe everything would be the same. I doubt it would be. And I know that in high school, when I was on welfare, when I was homeless, people audibly would make comments to me like, oh, look at that, like, poor girl on food stamps, whatever, because they, like, dressed worse than me, because they were a person of color, whatever. So I benefited infinitely from that. And the list goes on and on and on. I could talk about how I'm not disabled, how I'm not undocumented, whatever. My point is that the American dream, it's real for some people. Hard work can get you places, but only to a certain extent. And this country is systemically built for the rich to benefit, for the white to benefit, for a certain class of people to benefit. And I think we've lost sight of the true American dream of everyone being equal, everyone having opportunity, and not just a select few.
I think she has said it all. There are a lot of people who benefit solely from this whole American dream, blah, blah, blah. And there are people who are crashing out, people who are not even able to get everything that they want despite how much they work. A lot of people put so much pressure into hard labor, hard work to make sure that things get better. Somebody said sometime in the comment section of a video so that that I think it was my video I posted, and the person said something. He said they are not planning to get wealthy ever, okay, because they live on debt. And everybody have said it in this video, like most people work and still owe debts. Like you just keep owing them forever. No matter what, whenever you die, the debt is still there. You keep owing. Today you pay a penny, and the money keep increasing, the interest they keep increasing, and all that. So some people might never get wealthy. It's like the American dream is just built for a certain category of people who are wealthy, people. The rich keep getting richer. I think it's not just in America. This thing happens everywhere. The rich keeps getting wealthy. It's only in Nigerian movies that you find a rich man coming to marry a poor, lady. That happens only in the movie. It's so hard for you to see that happen physically. And that's why you see rich people always network with rich people, connect their children to people that matters, the who is who, the 1% of the 1%. Those are the people that they connect their children with. They go to the best schools. They live in the nice neighborhood, the best neighborhood, just because they want their children to experience the best life, and they don't want them to have anything to do with poverty. Okay, and poverty starts from mindset. Starts from mindset, from the environment, from everything. And she talked about skin color, okay, and how it has really helped her life, right? If she was not, it's going to also affect a lot of things. And she actually shared, in fact, she went so deep to share that. I was so amazed. Like she understood the fact that her color actually play a lot of role in making her, a better person or a successful person, as she is today, right? Unlike every other person who is currently struggling, pushing, that is trying to make sure that life get better for them. No matter how they try to push, you still find this stumbling block, as if there is just this thing standing on your way of success, so that you don't have to break through. Okay, it's either community, like everything is just because of the color. It's so hard for you to break through, for you to get a job, a good job, for you to it's just so hard. So many people of color who has breaking forth, if they share their story with you, sit you down to really share their story, how it happened for them, you will be so shocked that this can really be true. Somebody was telling me a few days ago how in their industry, she's in filmmaking, and she was telling me that even in filmmaking and as Africans, that is so hard for you to break through because of your skin color. And I'm like, why are we not having this skin color thing even you know, in our hometown? Like, we are still having the same colorism issue where, because you are palm colored, it's so easy for you to get a role, but somebody who is it's so hard for the person to get a role. And I'm like, okay, this thing happens everywhere, right? But you still cannot compare, right? So she actually digged in deep and shared the teas, okay? But I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think about today's video and everything that everyone has said, how the whole system is working for a particular class of people, them trying their best to break through, and yet policies upon policies that come up are not favorable to a lot of people, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts, the unemployment rate and everything. Let me hear what you think in the comment section. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so that more people can see it. I look forward to seeing you all on my next video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.